Hey, what's up? This is Adrian from Technical Project Manager, and in this video I'm taking you on a tour through Microsoft Project. We'll look at the workspace, the navigation menus, and the different sections on the application. So this video is helpful for you if you have never used Microsoft Project before and if you want to get started and understand how to use the application. And I'm using Microsoft Project 2016, but the explanation will match also the older versions and newer versions. So let's get started. So I have launched Microsoft Project 2016, and this is what you're going to see once you have launched the app. So it gives you here various templates that you can use to create a new project. For example, a software development project or a commercial project, residential project. But most of the time you want to start with a blank project, unless you are specifically planning a software project or any of the templates here. But let me just walk you through the other options here that you see at the start screen. So here we have new, we have info. So here you can make some general settings, for example, to the calendar, but most of the time you won't need this area here. Open is of course to open Microsoft Project files that you have created before. Then you have account settings. So these are this is where your registration data is saved from Microsoft, and then there's the options feature, which gives you all the settings that apply to the overall Microsoft Project app. So, for example, you can change the date format here. You can change the view that pops up by default. Your username. You can change display settings, so which calendar are you using? I guess for most of you this will be the default, the Gregorian calendar. And here this is helpful for the calendar settings that you want to use. So you can change here, for example, what day the week should start. So where I live, we start counting the week on Monday, but other countries start counting on Sunday. The working times you can change here. So these settings apply to the new projects you create. You can change on a per project basis. You can also change these settings and, for example, create your own calendar that are specific for this project. How many hours per day is your team working? How many hours per week? How many days per month? So just to know that where you can find those settings. So these are like defaults that are used once you create a new project. And it's useful to take some time and take a look at the options available here, because you may come across a feature that you're looking for, and so once you have seen it here, it's just easier to get started. Proofing, this is for language, I guess. Yeah. Saving, so this is not where should the files be stored. Language settings, so you can change your different editing languages. Then let's see what's under the advanced tab. So Microsoft has this planning wizard which pops up when Microsoft Project recognizes that you want to make specific changes, or you're looking for a feature, or it's just giving you advice. Yeah. So you can control this here. And again, here are some general settings you can make, like the hourly rate, our overtime rate, and things like that. I don't want to go into detail here. The ribbon is what you see at the top, so like this menu bar and icon bar. I'm using the default, but like, for example, if some features you are always they're hidden somewhere in the menu and you're using that, or you want to use them on a regular basis, then you can make them appear here on the main screen so that you don't have to click like several times to get to this feature. And you can change here the icons that are being shown. And then there's the quick access toolbar, which is the top here, very top. Then there are add-ins which you can get in the Microsoft Project Store. So these are general application and project settings. Let's go back. So this is under the File tab. So now let's create a first project using the blank template. I mean, it's a blank screen actually. So let's just click on here. So this is what you're gonna see first. Now I want to walk you through the different parts of the application and the Microsoft project screen. Let's start with the top. So here is the menu bar, file. We have been there, task, resource, report, project, view, format. These are the main menu entries, and you can see that depending on the entry, there are different icons being shown that are part of the respective category. So let's go through each. We have looked at file already. For task, these are all the features and functions relevant or that apply to project tasks. So a project is basically a long structure of individual tasks which are being linked, and each task has an own duration and start date, end date, and things like that. And using the functions here, you can maintain and create tasks. So, I mean, you can create them manually, like enter here the task name. So, for example, paint house, things like that. But you can also create a task here. I think it's easier to, for me, it's just easier to just directly paint it here into the grid structure. But just that you know that here are useful features related to tasks. What you can also do is you can track the progress of a task. So let's just create a very simple project with 3 tasks. So we have a paint house, let's say that's 3 days. So I type in 3D for 3 days. A start date, let's go to next year. So it's 5th of February. It's a 3-day task. And then once the house is painted, we have to wait for 2 days until the paint has dried. So dry phase. And then we can, once the house is finished and painted, we can put in the furniture. So furnish furniture or furnishing, and that takes maybe 4 days. So here now to demonstrate you one feature of the task tab. So these tasks are currently scheduled as manually. I have another video where I go into the 2 different scheduling modes, automatic and manual. We want to use the automatic because we want Microsoft Project to automatically schedule the task for us based on the optimal schedule. So I have selected the tasks and I press auto schedule. And okay, now it has changed the start date. You see, because now it uses just the today's date. Let's go for that now. But the tasks are on the Gantt chart. So this is the other part, the Gantt chart. They are not put in the right order. So here's another nice feature of the taskbar. You can just select the 3 tasks, and now we want to link them. The paint house is the first task, and the dry phase, and the furnishing is the third task. And we want to put them into the right order. So you have to select the tasks, and then you click here on link the selected tasks. And now watch what happens on the Gantt chart. So I press the button, and now boom, you can see these are like put in the right, linked in the right order. So this is just an example of what the task menu is for. But you can also like use the formatting, like you can color this task. We can track the progress here. So we can say it's like 75% completed. So, and then there this inner bar will appear to indicate the progress. This is the task ribbon. Now let's go to the next part. So this is the whole topic of resource management. And resources are generally, it's your team, so the people working in the project. You can plan them in as resources, but it could also be machines or your project budget, for example, or other tools you're renting or using. So you can align the schedule with the resource availability. And this is what you can do here. So you can plan your team, you can create resources, you can assign resources to tasks so that there's really a name behind each task. This is what you can do here. Then there is the report view. This is where you can create different kinds of reports, whether it's cost reports, progress reports, or resource usage reports, whatever. So it's like in Excel where you can draw these nice diagrams and have tables with a summary, like a pivot table, something like that. This is what you can do here in Microsoft Project. Then the project tab is also pretty important. These are functions that affect or that apply to the entire project. Important is, for example, the project information button. So if we click here, this is where you maintain the start date. Or if you're planning backwards, you would maintain here the finish date. But you can also change the way the project is scheduled, whether you want to schedule the project from the start date or whether you want to do a backwards scheduling. So then you define the end date, and Microsoft Project will schedule backwards. So this is also important. The other things you won't have to use too often. Maybe the working time is interesting if you want to create like additional calendars. If you have specific tasks that need to be done on the weekend, for example, you need to create a new calendar. I also have a video for this. So here, this is where the working time is maintained. So you see here what days are working days, which days are non-working days, and so on. And so you can change that for your entire project, but also for specific tasks. But I don't want to go into detail here. Then there is the view ribbon. So MS Project has many different views. For example, this is like a task view, but with a Gantt chart on the right side. But it also has a pure task usage view where you can see who is working on what task, on what days, and so on. And this is where you can jump to the different views. You can also have the team planner. You can go to the resource sheet. Yeah, I don't use that tab too often. And then formatting. This is where you can give your project a nice, like the project planner, a nice styling with different templates. You can see different color schemes if you want to make it look more fancy. So this is the menu bar, and just play around with these tabs a little bit so you can see what's behind each tab, and you won't be like have this fear of using the app because you know what's behind it. Anyway, I wanted to explain you the MS Project screen in general. So now we've covered the upper section. Now let's go into the other areas here. So you can see here there's this area called timeline. We can actually expand that. And by default, this is empty. There's nothing added to the template, to this timeline, even though I have created here tasks. And the timeline is a visualization tool. So, for example, you have 100 tasks in your project, but not all of them are. Some are like more support tasks, and then there are these high-level or super important tasks, which you also want to keep the management informed. So you could add those tasks to the timeline, and thereby have your own like view on the project. So what we can do here, we can select the paint house task and then right-click, and then say add to timeline, and then you'll see the task has appeared here. And we can do this for the next ones. We can also do it for all of them simultaneously, but I just do it one by one. Add to timeline. So now this is a view which you can easily print out. You can put it in a PowerPoint, and you can choose which activities should be shown and which ones to skip. Because not every task, I mean, if you put in every task into your timeline overview, it becomes just overwhelming and too complex. But sometimes you just want to report the status on a few key tasks and skip the rest because they are not that important. Yeah. Let's see what you can do here. Yeah, so this is automatically generated here. There are also ways how you can change the coloring probably, but let's not dive too much here into the rabbit hole. So this is the default view in MS Project, where you have the timeline here on the top, and then below you have the Gantt chart. Because this is nice because you have your tasks on the left side and the graphical view on the right side. But you can also like make this smaller if you want. So what else should we look at? One thing you wanna know also here is at the bottom here, there is a way where you can define how new tasks should be scheduled. So by default, tasks are scheduled manually, meaning you are free to choose whatever start date of each task as you like, or auto-scheduled, where Microsoft Project determines the optimal start date for each task. This is actually what you want, because that's the whole benefit of using MS Project, because it has this automatic scheduling functionality. So this is where you define how in what way new tasks should be scheduled. So I can choose here auto-scheduled, and if I create a new task like celebrate our move, it's one day, yes. So you see it's automatically scheduled. It's currently not linked, so we can link it by entering here the predecessor, which is task number 4, and then you see this is what it looks like. Then also what you should know here at the bottom right, there are a couple of icons here. They are very useful. The left couple of icons, they are where you can jump between the different views. So we are now in the Gantt chart view, but you can also jump into the task view, team planner, if you're using the resource feature. So here you would have the names of the resources and when they are working on what task. And then there is the resource sheet with the labor rates, times used, and so on. And then there's the zoom bar where you can, well, you have to go into the Gantt chart viewer, I guess. So you can change the level of detail that you want to have. So here you can go really down to an hourly level if you want that, if you're planning on hourly basis, or you can decrease the level of detail by showing only the weekdays, or we can even just show the number of days, or just the month. If you're managing a project which stretches over several years, then you will just have the monthly view. So, and yeah, here you can scroll around. So you see, it's actually not that difficult to use. Once I have created a project, I go and I want to save it. You can either press Control Save on the keyboard, or go to File, Save, or Save As, and then store it wherever you want to share it. You can create printouts here. You can share it. You can also export the project, for example, as a PDF or as an Excel file, depending on your needs. Yeah, so that's basically it. So just get started with MS Project and create your first test project, and then experiment with the different features, and you'll see that it's actually not that hard to use. Yeah. So, and if you like the video, just give it a thumbs up, and you can also leave a comment. I really appreciate your feedback, or if you have any questions, just post a comment below the video. And also below the video there is the article which corresponds to this, which I've written for this video, which is on the Tactical Project Manager blog. All the best, take care, and bye bye.